Here we go!
Hey all, what's up? This is GamerBlake90, proud chief of the Blue Blurs, presenting you with a Sonic news video. A very short one though. Well, it looks like we finally have an answer as to what all we can expect in the way of upcoming Sonic games in honor of his 30th anniversary this year. So what can we expect? Well, the short answer is nothing, and it gave me no pleasure saying that at all. But I'm not surprised either, if I'm being honest, and I'll talk about why I'm not surprised about this news later in the video. In yesterday's issue of a magazine called Global Licensing, an image came up that caught our attention straight away. It's basically an update of the Sonic 30th posters that cropped up across various online retailers, including eBay, earlier this year. We see a familiar tagline, "Unstoppable for Generations," and we also see a library of screenshots taken from Sonic's gaming lineup. We also see Sonic himself running right out of a ring and directly towards the foreground, with the 30th anniversary logo right underneath him. And underneath that is a description talking about Sonic's 30th anniversary, and it also contains a line that talks about future plans for 2022. Let's go over these real quick. First up, celebrating Sonic's 30th anniversary in 2021. Over $1 billion in franchise revenue to date. Now, in order to back this information, I tried looking at some lists online that talked about the highest earning gaming franchises since their inception. But each list was different from one another in terms of sales figures, so I think some of them aren't entirely up to date. But they did have one common denominator. Sonic himself is typically hovering just outside the top 20 of each of those lists, and the top 20 themselves consists of pretty formidable competitors like Mario, Pokemon, and the like. So it's very pleasing to see that Sonic is still doing incredibly well as far as finances are concerned. $1 billion in franchise revenue to date since 1991. That's definitely no small feat. Next up on the list, #1 video game movie of all time. At this point, I'm pretty sure people will start jumping into the comments to either agree with this statement or dispute it. And I am fine with either scenario. But one thing you cannot deny is that this movie excelled well beyond expectations, after a lot of doubt was cast over it at first due to reasons that I may or may not have talked about in my last video where I spoke about what it is I'm hoping to see from the Sonic movie sequel. $81 million went into production, and after its launch, it made well over $300 million, basically guaranteeing a sequel as a result, which I'm still very happy about. So, it's definitely earned the label of #1 video game movie of all time. Since Sonic's first game was released in 1991, over 1.2 billion Sonic games were either sold or downloaded, most likely accounting for mobile games as well. And let me tell you, those are some impressive figures that will be difficult to argue away, and encouraging to see. After 30 years, Sonic is still going strong, in spite of all the ups and downs he has faced, especially within the last decade. Let's be real with ourselves here. So, I'm really glad to see that there are tons of interest still in Sonic's library of games, and deservedly so. But while we are talking about Sonic games, this is where I have to get to the bad news, or the good news depending on how you look at it. The very last line on Sonic's latest advertisement reads as follows: games, movies, animation, mobile, partnerships, and more in 2022. So there you have it guys. If you were hoping for a Sonic game this year, we seem to be out of luck, as according to this image, we're not getting anything until 2022 at the earliest. Now, I can totally feel for everybody disappointed by this news. I am as well, but like I said earlier, I'm not surprised either. With the world in its current state, everybody has had to change up their plans, and SEGA isn't any different. I know there was going to be a Sonic panel at last year's South by Southwest convention, or SXSW for short, but that wound up getting cancelled because at that time the pandemic was just beginning to rear its ugly head, so the need for caution was totally understandable. Knowing all of this, if SEGA had managed to pump out a Sonic game either last year or this year, I would have been deeply impressed, because as anybody who's dabbled in game development should be aware, it is never a straightforward task. A good game requires hours upon hours, and sometimes years upon years of labor before it's good to go. So I totally respect Sega's decision to take their time with this next game. One thing I'm still hoping for is that we might still get a reveal trailer for whatever game Sega is cooking up right now. At least, that's what I'm hoping. But again, with the world in its current state, I don't find this likely. But one can hope, right? This is far from the first Sonic anniversary to slip by us without any games coming out. A similar event took place 5 years ago when we celebrated Sonic 25th in 2016. Jeez, man! 5 years already? I'm kinda scared now. But at the San Diego Comic-Con that year, 2 Sonic games would be announced, although they wouldn't be released until a year later. I'm talking, of course, about Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. Though at the time, Forces wasn't named as such, and was instead codenamed Project Sonic 2017. And of course, Sonic Mania was well worth the wait. Forces, I personally can't say the same for, but I know there are some people that do enjoy Forces, so that's still a win right there. Anyway, again, I totally understand the next mainline Sonic game, whatever it may be going for, being pushed back until 2022. I think their initial plans were to get a game out for this year, whether it be like a collection of Sonic titles or a remaster of something, looking at you Sonic Colors, but obviously plans do change, and with the world as it is, it was a delay I totally saw coming, and I'm sure others did as well. However, without meaning to insert a negative tone into the video, this is where I have to talk about a glaring issue that's been getting discussed quite often, and that is the lack of transparency from Sega about anything related to Sonic. Currently, Sega is hard at work getting their other IPs up and rolling, which I'm totally all for because it's very unhealthy for a company to base their sales entirely around one IP, no matter how reputable it may be, even in Sonic's case. But here's the thing, while Sega has been incredibly active with their other IPs, not one word has been said about Sonic whatsoever. It's been complete silence, which I don't understand. The last I ever heard from them about anything related to Sonic was when they acknowledged the release of a 2020 Sonic movie, which of course they would because I'm fairly sure they had a hand in its making, especially during the scenario surrounding Sonic's redesign. Then there's also the fact that Sega hit the big 6-0 just last year, major props to them by the way, and one way they celebrated was by releasing social media icons and wallpapers based on each of their IPs, Sonic included. But in his case, it was largely recycled art, which, I'll be honest, was kind of a letdown. But it's not like I was expecting a Sonic game to come out in conjunction with Sega's 60th, as it would make more sense to hold off on that for until Sonic turned 30 himself, as that was just around the corner at the time. As well, you'll recall me mentioning that initially there was going to be a Sonic panel at last year's South by Southwest convention, and that got cancelled due to the pandemic, which I can understand. The last we'd heard about it was in a message from a Sonic Twitter team, where they said that they weren't happy with the delay, but they need to wait until everything was safe before they could show us their content intended for South by Southwest, and they would have an update to share with us once they knew more. Now, it's been over a year since that message, and well, there's been complete silence. Well, complete silence from Sega, not from the Sonic Twitter team. The Sonic Twitter team is not Sega, they're just handling the social media aspect for Sonic, and I totally thank them for their work. But I do not understand this deafening silence from Sega, like it doesn't make any sense. It's not like I'm expecting monthly or weekly updates or anything of the sort, because game development requires a very flexible schedule as you never know what could change about it. But up until now, we've had to turn to outside sources for information related to Sonic's 30th anniversary. You could go to the Sega website or the Sonic website, and you would see absolutely nothing about the fact that Sonic is about to hit the big 3-0 later this June. Now, I don't want to put any pressure on Sega to disclose anything about what necessitated the delay, or whatever else is going through their mind when it comes to Sonic, but I really don't understand this silence. Sonic is the company's mascot. Heck, he's what got them onto the map when it comes to gaming in the first place, so you'd think they'd be a little more open about whatever it is they're planning for Sonic, and yet, nothing. Sonic's got a big year ahead of him in 2022, He's got the Amazon Prime Netflix series coming up, he's got another movie on the way, and assuming Sega's plans don't change any further, they could capitalize on both of those events with a launch of a new mainline Sonic game that could in turn attract more people to the series. Something that I don't feel took place in its entirety during the first Sonic movie because no games had come out since then. Unless you count the launch of the mobile game Sonic at the Olympic Games, which is cool and all, but we're talking about the Sonic mainline games here, of course. And when you factor in the pandemic rearing its head that year, it's no wonder that a game didn't come out then. But at this point, all of the pieces are in place for Sonic to rise to even bigger heights in this year and the next year, except for one crucial part of the equation: his games. Sonic originated as a gaming icon. Even his first live-action movie acknowledges this with how it opens up. So for Sega to be completely silent on the matter? This makes no sense to me whatsoever. And if I were to tell you but I wasn't frustrated over this, I'd be lying. When you're getting information on Sonic's 30th anniversary from sources other than Sega, you know that something has got to be wrong here. The only problem is, we don't know what. With all that said, please don't take this video as an invitation to start putting any pressure on Sega, because one, that's not a good way to go about things, and secondly, at the end of the day, Sega doesn't owe it to us to say anything about whatever it is they're planning, be it for Sonic or their other IPs, unfortunate as that is. But when you consider all of the success that Sonic has pulled in, and all of the success he continues to attain as a multimedia icon at this point, you'd think they would be a little bit more talkative about whatever it is they're thinking of with Sonic. Again, he's the company's mascot, so what is this? That's really all I can ask at this point. What is this, Sega? Why the lack of transparency? Why is it we've heard more from other sources about Sonic's 30th anniversary, but not from you guys? This is out of the ordinary. At this point, so much as one word would be all we need to hear right now. So to summarize, Sonic's next mainline game getting pushed back until 2022? Understandable. Sega's complete silence about Sonic? Not understandable. Hopefully something will change, although I don't know when that could happen. And that about wraps it up with the Sonic news video, guys. Thank you all for coming by and hearing my thoughts on the latest news concerning Sonic's 30th anniversary. If I learned anything else about the subject, you can bet I'll be making a video about it. Until then, if you enjoyed what you saw here, drop those likes and comments down below, and if you want to keep up with my content, just ring that bell and hit that sub button. Especially if you're a Sonic fan, because my channel revolves exclusively around Sonic content. Until then guys, I'm out, I'll see y'all next time, and don't forget, blue blurs for life. Take care, peace out.